this season, one of the exciting things was knowing that we wanted to dive into Larry Bird and start to peel back the layers of his personality and his backstory in a way that I think will surprise a lot of the audience.
Season 2 of Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, premieres on HBO and Max on August 6th. So, Max, I want to ask you, how does this season stand out from season 1? I know that you guys are chronicling 1980 to 1984, right?
Yes, sir. And so we've gotten, season 1 sets up the team. It's where we see things come together and they have a Cinderella season and they win. And this is the season where the question is, can you become a dynasty? Can you take that winning year and turn it into something truly epic and legendary? And the thing that excites us about this season is it's where the stakes really get raised. With victory, they get all the challenges of success, celebrity and infighting and personal challenges on and off the floor. And at the same time, what they're seeking is exponentially harder than just winning one. It's to rise to that level of being a dynasty, of being legendary. And to do that, the Lakers have to face their rivals, the Celtics. And this is the season where that first clash will happen.
Right. And Rodney, you're one of the writers along with the executive producers on the show. So what was the biggest challenge for you telling the story about the Lakers and really the Lakers versus the Celtics from 1980 to 1984?
I think anytime you get to, as Max was saying, talking about the rivalry between these two great institutions, you get into the character stuff. And anytime you're dealing with character and you're going deeper and more layered into story, you always have to try to pull out the real essence of who these players were. And that's always a challenge, but it's a great challenge. And I think, one of the virtues of season 2 as well is you get into the characters of Boston and Los Angeles and the differences between the two. Boston has its own history, problematic in some ways, and being able to go back, and it's not necessarily a challenge to your question, but it's intriguing to be able to look at history through a particular lens and see as much as the game itself, how human beings factor into the fan base, the players themselves, how all of that factors into the storytelling, and makes it a challenge, but a great one.
Absolutely. And Max, I wanted to ask you this. With this season being focused on, the Lakers and Celtics rivalry, you get to see more of Magic Johnson and really more of Larry Bird. How much have you enjoyed watching, Quincy Isaiah portraying Magic, and then Sean Patrick Small, I got to talk to last year, portray Larry Bird in these 2 seasons of the show?
Well, it's been incredible. It's been, because the two of them, first of all, the show couldn't exist without Quincy. Finding him and someone who could really embody Magic Johnson in the way that, as Rodney said, we're trying to tell the stories of these legends as human beings and get inside their heads. And he's such a fine actor. And he can also bring that charisma that we all know Magic had, because Magic lived in the spotlight. There's never been a more charismatic athlete or basketball player. And on the other hand, we have Larry Bird and the challenge of having to find someone like that. And our casting director just really, I remember the day that Rodney and I sat on a Zoom and we met Sean, and we were skeptical as to who can we find that can bring that kind of weight and gravitas that Quincy brings to Magic, because we knew that even though we just met Bird briefly in season 1, that here in season 2, he's going to start to gain the same level and the same stature, and we really wanted to dig in. And Sean he just brings it every day. But to your point, being able this season, one of the exciting things was knowing that we wanted to dive into Larry Bird and start to peel back the layers of his personality and his backstory in a way that I think will surprise a lot of the audience and makes you realize that far from just being Magic's rival, he's every bit as complex and fascinating a human being who had his own incredible challenges to overcome, and it becomes complicated as to who you want to root for. And that's the fun of the show, is that it breaks down the barriers of one fan for one team or another. We're seeing both sides of these these people who are really connected.
One thing from what Max was saying too is with the characters of Bird and Magic couldn't be more different, and when you look at what Sean had to do, it's actually the opposite of what Quincy has to do, where you see all of this bursting charisma. With Magic, it actually, you have to be not necessarily introverted, but it's more of a quiet passion that you see Bird with. So, kudos to both of those guys.
Absolutely. And Rodney, I want to ask you this, every episode, even going back to season 1, seems to have this share of action, comedy, and drama. And for you, is there an episode of season 2 that stands out for you in terms of being kind of attention grabbing?
The first one. I mean, I think it's so much about, you get everything that I think stands out about the show. You get family, you get basketball, you get the team itself, you get the individuals within the team concept, you get everything. And I think that's one of the great things about the show is it can be so many different things narratively that and thematically that you can't beat it storytelling wise. It's not just about sports, and there's so many sports themed shows that focus on the game itself. And here we get into the culture of sports, the culture of culture, and so many different aspects of life that it's a joy to be able to be a part of.
And tone, the things we have fun is being able to, life is funny and it's dramatic. And yes, this is this show is wildly fun to watch. And it's also one, I think, in this season very much that like you're going to have moments where you're brought to tears and moments where you feel really complicated emotions along with these characters. And so for us being able to walk that, not even walk the line, but be able to bounce between, and we have actors like John C. Reilly who have the chops and the facility to go from drama to comedy in a snap. And so knowing that we have those incredible performers writing to that tone is just a joy for us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of season 2 of Winning Time. Max, Rodney, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and continued success to both of you.